Hello, Internet. This is Team B&B with a quick discussion that we're throwing up on the YouTube page because we've had some thoughts and we'd like to get them out. Us being me, Mr. V8, and Mr. B&B Gourmand, who's joining us today for several reasons. One of which is because he's got some very salient points I think the world needs to hear about some very new things in the world of Magic the Gathering, which will be the primary topic for today's discussion. This is not our usual format. We like to try to do in podcast format, but this is just something we felt we had to get out to the people and our loyal listeners, if we have any left, because we've been absent for quite a while. We just felt people need to hear this, and we just wanted to put it on YouTube and let the world know how we felt. So what have we been doing lately? Well, Team B&B, for the most part, has been playing lots of MTG, as Magic the Gathering, to anyone who's listening, and we've been going to our local LGSs, playing in tournaments. I'm back to my old ways, as I should say, as far as playing in weekly tournaments, crafting decks. This Dominaria set has really pulled us in. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here today to drop some knowledge on you guys about this new Battlebond set that's coming out. It's a two-headed giant centric set that has really changed up some of the core elements of what a set is in Magic the Gathering in itself. More specifically, there's a specific pattern of which Wizards likes to release their sets and how this all goes. I'm gonna let the Gourmand explain this to you guys in terms of he's gonna be talking a little bit about lecturing a little bit about collector's numbers, I believe they're called, and how the Woo board has changed a little bit in this Battlebond set. So, and to introduce, because you haven't, he has been for us. He's been our kind of like man on the boards, our producer, if you will. And this man is not only good at math, he's a certified computer engineer. He has a degree. He works with computers all the time. This man's math is next level. What would you say? Would you say you do complex mathematical equations as a hobby?
Not exactly as a hobby, but I'm subscribed to a few YouTube channels. If you would like recommendations, leave a comment, and I'll throw out my list of recommendations.
Just give them one for a small taste of what just an idea.
The best one for people just coming in and they want to get a really different look, 3 blue, 1 brown.
Yeah, see, that's what we're talking about here. This guy's math is next level. So, talk to us a little bit about collector's numbers and how this Battlebond set differs from a normal Magic the Gathering set.
So, since Wizards has had collector's numbers on cards,
not to chime in, but that's the little number that you see way at the bottom of your card that says 083 out of like 199. That's what we're referring to specifically.
They've generally followed specific formats. You might have realized this if you pay attention to collector's numbers, or even if you've played in a sealed tournament. If you've ever played in a sealed tournament where they've asked you to fill out a deck list, you'll know that what they ask you to do is they ask you to put your deck into Wooborg number, then multicolor, then artifact, then land, and then sort that based on name.
Wooborg is referring obviously to the color pie.
Yes. So the Wizards has official abbreviations. It's actually in their comprehensive rules. It's also used throughout the web. So if you ever see on the web someone do curly braces, W curly braces, that's actually Wizards' official way to designate the white mana symbol in a text-only environment.
Yeah, so that's what Wooborg is for, but I'm sure yes, you guys already know that.
It is, so the colors are in the order you see them on the back of a Magic card.
Right.
Starting from the top and going clockwise.
Right.
White, blue, black, red, green.
From here, and the white, blue, black, red, green, like he just said, that will be from henceforth referred to as Wooborg, because in this talk, we're going to kind of educate as much as we deliberate.
So, when you're asked to fill out a deck list at a sealed tournament,
right?
What they want you to do is they want you to put your cards in collector set ID order.
Okay.
They don't tell you that. They say put it into Wooborg, Mal, M-A-L is multicolor artifact land.
Right.
Because the actual official ordering from Wizards for most sets, like all of them up to now, as far as I'm aware, is C, Wooborg, Mal. Colorless, white, blue, black, red, green, multicolor, artifact, artifact, land.
Right.
And then once you're within each of those categories, you order alphabetically.
Okay.
So, Battlebond does not do this.
No, this new Battlebond set, which again is not a mainline set, but it's a set that Wizards has brought out to focus on the two-headed giant particular game that has been played as a side event at a lot of sealed releases, at least in our area. We're from the Midwest, Wisconsin to be specific, Southeast Wisconsin. So in our events that we go to, they play this as a side event. You'll see this also as a lot of side events at some GPs and different things like that. It's a teammate format where you and another person basically share a life total and go up against two other people who essentially share a life total. The set Battlebond is an extra set, so it's not Masters 25, but think of it in that vein as far as it's not a mainline set.
Right. So Wizards has one set a year that comes out roughly this time that they intend for this type of thing. Previously, it's been Plane Chase, it's been Conspiracy. This takes that slot.
Yes.
So this is the Plane Chase Conspiracy slot.
Yes.
For this. Last year they moved the slot to the end of the year and did Unstable.
Which was awesome, by the way.
I'm shocked to hear you say that.
It's not something I'm into. I don't like playing in the events because I like to keep the cards I get, and they're kind of useless after the one time you get to play them, so it's a little disappointing for me. But it's essentially they're collector's items. I mean, the lands in those unsets are like what you look for.
Also the shiny tokens.
The shiny tokens. I mean, and it's kind of a joke within itself where they try to make the lands and the tokens, which are usually the least anticipated cards in any pack, the most anticipated cards in a pack. So it's kind of like a joke. But
I pulled Headmaster Urza.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. He had fun. He had fun.
I had fun,
and that's what's most important, is that you have fun with a lot of these card games.
Now I have not looked at the collector set ID ordering of Plane Chase or Conspiracy. It's possible in those sets they did something similar. So I'd have to go back and look at that to confirm or deny that.
Right.
However, as far as I'm aware, they did not.
So, as in something similar, he's going to be referring to how they changed Battlebond's set order from the standard set order which we're used to.
To give you an idea of how standard this order is, if you look at the collector number in a commander set or in a Planeswalker deck set or in anything that's got a its own collector symbol without being a normal set.
Right.
They generally all follow this same collector ID format, like even Commander. It's not per deck like you might think it is. It's across the entire set. There you go.
And again, that order that he's referring to is the Wooborg Mal order.
Yes.
Of which we'll be constantly referring back to.
So, Battlebond. What is the order of Battlebond? So, cards 1 through 22 are in this order. Reverse rarity, and then pairs of cards are in, once you get into the reverse rarity, pairs of cards are in the Wooborg order.
Okay, and by reverse rarity you mean Mythic at the top and Common at the bottom, which is usually the opposite.
Well, rarity usually doesn't actually enter into the ordering of the collector ID.
No, but you say you refer to reverse rarity?
Yes. Mythic would be the first thing and Common would be the last.
Yes, in the normal order or the reverse?
In the reverse.
Okay.
Basically, the first card in this set is Mythic Rare.
Yeah. So there you go.
Now, when I say pairs of cards, the first 22 cards are the partners with cards. All the partners with cards are enemy color paired cards. Each card is a monocolor, but the pair is enemy color.
Yes.
So, the order you have is the 2 Kenriths at the very top. They are your Mythic Rare pair.
Yep. Barbie and Ken, as I like to call them.
And they are blue-red. So, Ken is first at blue and Barbie second at red.
Yes. The reason I call them Barbie and Ken is they're two both blonde, blue-eyed, very stoic. They're like the picture of perfection in as far as the way that they look.
Jan and Jace?
Something like that. I mean, you know, Jan and Jeffrey or something. They're very, Mary and John, you know.
Yeah.
They're blonde, blue-eyed.
Well, I think one of them is named Will. I mean...
Yeah, it's Will, and then what's the other one? I forget, but something similar to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're Barbie and Ken. Like, that's a fair comparison. Feel free to pause the video and Google these cards so you can have a look for yourself. But it's very Barbie and Ken. But go ahead.
The reason we're asking you to Google, even though this is going to be on YouTube, is because we're going to try and put this out in a timely fashion, and if I were to look for the graphics and actually put them in, it would take too much time.
It would. He's right.
Watch me do that anyway.
Hey, I would be happy if he did some work on these videos.
Also, sorry about the audio quality. We're not using our best equipment. Again, we're kind of rushing this.
Yes, because we want to get it out to the public. And we did record, I'm gonna make an apology for something now. I don't know if he's gonna put it up, but we recorded like a 4-hour session of us opening 3 boxes of Dominaria, the set. And it went really well as far as we thought. We had an audio issue where, there was no audio.
Yeah, I didn't catch it until post because I had done a pre-check on the audio and the audio was fine, and then we changed something in the configuration and that apparently blitzed the audio, and I didn't notice it until post.
Yeah, had we noticed it, so that's why, and it was 4 hours long, and it was really fun, and you got to see our beautiful faces on that one. But
it was actually fun.
Not to get too far off track, and bury our lead here. We were talking about the Wooborg order and how Battlebond not following that.
Okay, so partners, right? So the first 2 cards of the set are Mythic rare. They are the Kenrith twins. The next 10 cards in the set are all rare. So at the rare slot, you have partners ordered in Wooborg order. So your order is number 3 is white, number 4 is black, number 5 is blue, number 6 is red, number 7 is black, number 8 is green, number 9 is red, number 10 is white, and number 11 is green, and number 12 is blue.
Yes, and this is following correct order. Now, Wizards has, I believe, posted all the cards in the set.
Yes.
What they look like and what they do. You can go and look at the pictures of all the cards. I think at the time of this recording, you can't buy cards from the set yet. I believe you can still pre-order them. I don't think they're out in the local game stores yet. But so there will be a little bit of speculation on this video. But that's the way it is, and he's actually correct on that because they've shown the card to back this up.
The uncommons follow the same order. So your first 2 cards are the mythics. The next are these 10 rares. You've got 10 mythics. Then you've got 10 uncommons. And that's all your partners' cards. That's your cards 1 to 22. Card 23 is your first white card that's going to follow the standard Wooborg order. However, the block of cards from 23 to 85 are all cards that are new to Battlebond.
Said it again, from 23 to 85, you said?
Yes, from 23 to 85.
Remember that now. I'm going to make it a little aside to what he's saying. Remember that. That's very important here to some of my tinfoil hat theories that I have about this set. But the fact that he just said that cards 23 to 85 are all new cards. That's what he means by it. They're new, brand new, never before seen cards that are brand new to this and exclusive to Battlebond itself.
And they are all cards that either have the assist keyword, use the wording your team, or in general are fitting in with the Battlebond theme.
Right.
So that's your 23 to 85, and those 23 to 85 are in Wooborg Mal order.
Right.
There are some of each of those categories. The last 5 cards in that order, cards 81 through 85, are lands.
Are those the new special lands that have the multiplayer caveat? So there are 5 new lands that, I believe 5, that basically they're dual lands that, they're not dual lands in a traditional sense of they're both types of lands, I don't think. They're not like Plains Island or what have you. But they're dual lands that they produce more than one color. That's what I mean by that. That their caveat is they come into play untapped if you have 2 or more opponents. So that's cool. So a lot of this set and why me and the Gourmand in our group is into is the formats that we typically play are Standard and Commander. Those are the two formats that we have delved into and that we enjoy the most. So I'm a big Standard player. I love 60 card. I also love Modern, but I don't have the physical cards for that because that can get a little expensive. But we do have a lot of the Standard fairs, so we play a lot of Standard. That's the majority of our trips to our local game stores have been Standard. If you guys are wondering right now, I'm really loving the Dominaria Saplings deck. I'm a Timmy. I'm a risk taker, a poker player, however you want to say it. So I like either going tall, going wide. I'm a Timmy. Our friend Gourmand here is why we work so well together. He's a bit of a Johnny. He's a puzzle solver. He likes combos, that sort of thing.
I'm either a Johnny with Timmy tendencies or a Timmy with Johnny tendencies.
Something like that. But that's why this Battlebond set is important to us. We're Commander players. So these lands of which he refers to are important to us. If we were to get cards from the set, these are things we would like to pull. When new sets come out, my general and what this means to you. This is why I'm going saying this.
Also, the ice cream man who couldn't make this because we're doing this pretty much at the last minute.
This is a very spur of the moment thing. We just had some thoughts and we wanted to kind of time capsule our thoughts and record them for posterity as they were fresh in our minds.
Is the Spike in our Timmy Johnny Spike trio?
Yes, he's the Spike. He plays mostly Commander due to financial issues, but he's possibly, out of the three of us, he's probably the best player of the three.
And he's also really excited for the set because there are a lot of spiky things for Commander in this set.
Yeah, so that's why this set appeals to us. So that's why we delved into it in a very analytical fashion. And the Gourmand, he's a bit of a scientist, and I'm a bit of a risk taker. So that's kind of how our dynamic works a little bit. He likes to experiment as much as but I like the excitement of something new, something you can experiment with. How does these things mix together, right? I want to take the new chemical and see all the chemical reactions. So when we build decks, we try to use the scientific process. We make a hypothesis. We try to test conjecture. We see, we do field research. That's what we call going to the LGS with the new deck. We just call field research. We want to see these different things. So that's why Battlebond connects with us. Now, getting back to the fact that the last 5 cards in the Battlebond section of the set are lands is actually one of the key reasons to get this set. I'm not advocating you do or do not get this set. I have opinions and some conjectures we'll get into after today's lecture, but those lands, I am very excited for it. I'm gonna, at the end of this, or towards the end, I'm gonna list off a lot of the cards that I think, and I have a pretty good track record in this. I am gonna kind of sprain my wrist, patting myself on the back just a bit. I'm usually pretty good with seeing, these are the ones you want. So, those lands, that's market watch. So that's kind of what this is a little bit for me. It's a little bit of a market watch. These are what you guys should be looking for if you're willing to purchase, say, a box of this Battlebond. Those lands are top of the order. Any new set that comes out, the first goal I have is to always get the rare lands. Get all the rare lands. You're gonna need them for whatever deck you build. There's no reason for you not to have them. Whatever the rare dually lands, or all of the rare lands, actually, those are the rares that make me most excited. Say I open a pack of Dominaria. If I don't open a card, but I open say a Hinterland Harbor, I personally don't own any blue decks, but I'm ecstatic. I love lands. So those lands are very important. But now to part 2 of today's little lecture. What are the next set of cards after those lands? If you would like to reveal to the public.
Yeah. So if Battlebond were an 85 card set, it would be an extremely small set. Like, they don't make sets that small. But on top of that, not counting the 60 card welcome deck types.
Yeah, those serve a specific purpose. Those get a pass.
Yeah, but it's not an 85 card set. It is a 254 card set.
So it's a 254 card set, but what would be the rest of those cards? I mean, that's a pretty large gap between 85 and 254.
So cards 86 to 254 are your reprint cards.
All prints. How many reprints is that, Eric? Can you tell off the top of your head?
169.
So 169-ish, give or take one or two, if his math serves, which it usually does. That's 162 reprints. Not in any specific rarity and any specific thing. Now, Mike, the tinfoil hat in me and the risk-taking gambling speculator who likes to play the odds would say, this is looking a little bit on purpose. I mean, we got kind of a 60-40 dynamic going here, 60 in favor of the reprints. I think this was purposeful.
I'd have to run the numbers, but I don't think that's outside of the realm of possibilities for a normal set. But it's weird that they put the reprints all at the end of the set.
Yes.
To me, I don't think I've seen that before.
Neither have I.
But again, I did not specifically look at the most likely candidates where that might have happened, which are Plane Chase and Conspiracy.
Again, two fabulous commander sets.
Four. I believe there were two of each.
Yes, but they're fabulous. Those sets are fabulous for commander.
They have 3 Plane Chase sets.
Those have a lot of good cards for commander. But like he said, 100, what did he say, 68, was it? 168 reprints?
169 reprints,
nice.
But that includes the 5 basic lands, and there are only 5 in this set. There aren't 4 of each. There's so there's 164 reprint cards that people would think of as reprint cards, and then your basic lands. And they follow the cards starting at 86 is a white card, and it ends at card 254, which is a forest.
So it's a land. So it's in Wooburg Mal order, which is how we like it, because it's consistent. That's the number one. So, the number one thing that I like, that I would like out of Wizards of the Coast, and it's the most difficult thing in human history to achieve, is consistency. That's what we look, that's, I may criticize them, I may praise them, but one thing I will always expect from them is consistency. That's what I expect. I expect that out of anybody trying to take my money in exchange for a product is consistency. And so far, that's consistent. It follows a pattern, it's just not the usual pattern.
Yeah. Like, within these blocks, they follow the usual thing, but then they've got 3 blocks, and they kind of broke things up. Now, it is understandable that the partners are at the front and in that order. That makes sense, because if you look at their promotion for this set, they are going to release the partners into packs together.
Yes.
Now, this is where we get into conjecture.
Right.
The way I imagine this will happen is that if you get uncommon partners, it's just going to be 2 of the uncommons in your slot. However, they'll probably be after the rare. So you'll go through your pack, you'll have your
token, your land.
Your 10 commons.
Right.
Then you'll have 1 uncommon, 1 rare, then your 2 partners, and then your land, and then...
Yes, this would be similar. This would be a similar experience to how things were done with the Dominaria set, being that in the Dominaria set, you had your personage, or your legend, right? Your celebrity, your legend. And that always came after the rare.
Yeah.
So this would follow a similar mindset. It would just be for the partners. Now, the thing I want to know is, are we just going to get a partner card that may not link, but what I'm hoping it will happen, and probably most likely, is you'll get 2 partners that fit together.
Yeah, their promotion says that was their intention with these packs. When you open a pack, if you get a partner, you get the other partner for that partner.
Yes, because, let's face it, without that, the whole purpose of this would be moot.
But that leads to some odd changes. So, this is where I do my disclaimer.
Okay.
Wizards engages in track printing. This is a thing in collectible card games where you have to randomize a certain amount, but you do not want your packs completely randomized.
Okay.
The reason you don't want perfect randomization is because it will lead to things like there being clumps and there being sparseness, and you actually want to avoid that. You actually want what's more of an interleaved type of thing.
Okay.
So, like if you look up an article on deck stacking versus shuffling,
right?
Like if someone all they do is they start with their deck stacked with everything in like type order with lands on the bottom.
Right.
And then they pile shuffle into 5 piles once, collect them up, and pile shuffle into 5 piles again.
Mm-hmm.
it'll seem kind of random because within any 5 set of cards, they won't be able to predict what's within those 5 cards.
Right.
But it won't actually be random. It'll be in a weaved pattern. And that's called cheating. But they do this with the packs. That's what track printing is for.
Are you saying they cheat with their packs?
Yes, but in this case, it's to provide a better market experience.
So they're cheating for us.
Yes.
Because and I would say, would I be fair to say we condone this because of the better market experience?
In general, yes. It prevents clumping.
Yes.
So if you see box, like, you will occasionally see box openings where the guy's like, why am I getting all these double rares? The reason they're surprised is because Wizards, it makes efforts for that to not happen. And so when it happens, it becomes noticeable.
Right.
Okay, so, the reason I wanted to get that out of the way is because I am going to start talking raw numbers, and what will be pointed out to me in the comments, if anybody pays attention, is that these raw numbers are completely accurate because they're affected by track printing. They are affected by Wizards' manipulation of the randomness.
Okay.
But over very many cases, say across, 2 different cases,
right,
from different areas,
right,
you'll generally expect to kind of approach the odds that you would expect if they weren't doing track printing.
So what he's saying is, in other words, that he meant cases as in cases of Magic the Gathering. And
yes.
Yeah,
sorry.
not cases as in like case A versus case B as in situations. He meant cases as in 2 cases of Magic cards.
Case being 6 boxes or 216 packs.
Yep. Here comes it. So for those of you who are interested in a nice mathematical experience, which will benefit you to listen to, this is why I said, hey Guy, you have to put your voice to recording, and you have to talk about this because the world needs to know. He's going to break it down for you. So we had a discussion about one particular card that irked us. This is where I do my disclaimer. My disclaimer says I haven't the views and opinions of one Roman C. Klein are his alone and do not affect and revivify on Bread and Butter Entertainment, Rising Phoenix Games, or any associated people or groups. I was talking about doubling season, and the unreasonableness that people have about said card being in the set, and that they're going to buy the set in order to get one. The reason I mention this is Doubling Season is a very popular card, played in just about every format possible, and it's $40. As of right now, this recording, you can usually get one for something around $39.99 at your local game store. If not, they charge more for it, depending on art, and it's a very popular card for a lot of... I play it online and Magic online in my Super Friends deck. So some of the numbers we're going to talk about is your likeliness of getting said card, because that's the chase card for a lot of people. And then we'll get into things that there's other chase cards in the set, like I mentioned before, these lands, that are also important and why this set isn't a complete flop. But that's my disclaimer. So I did need to make that too, because there are going to be some people who I know are going to may disagree with some things I have to say. So you were talking about you were going to get into some raw numbers.
Okay, so for anybody who isn't aware, the numbers that Wizards runs for a set, and they've run these numbers for many years now.
Okay.
A large set, which this is considered a large set,
all right,
will have 15 mythic rares, 53 rares, 80 uncommons,
right,
110 commons, and 5 to 20 basic lands.
What about tokens?
They tend to be filler. There can be anywhere between like 10 and 20.
Okay. Yeah, and it really depends on the cards themselves. If cards in the set require tokens, if they don't, it's variable.
Yeah.
But the reason I mention tokens is they don't factor into these numbers.
No, they don't. I want to say that Dominaria had 15, so I'm going to look at this Dominaria token and see that it had 6 tokens.
Yes, so the set Dominaria itself, which is the latest mainline set.
By the way, when I say tokens, that also includes the 2 emblems in the set.
Yes, those are also fit. But if you were just wondering about, like, well, what about the token I get in my pack? That doesn't affect these numbers.
Okay. So, in a pack, you have a single rare slot.
Mm-hmm.
You have 3 uncommon slots. You have 10 common slots.
Right.
Your rare slot, when they print a sheet, that's a rare sheet. On this sheet, it's an 11 by 11 sheet. The reason it is 11 by 11 is because throughout the entire history of Magic, sheets have always been 11 wide.
And the unit of measurement we're doing here is card?
The unit of measurement is card.
Okay, so 11 cards by 11 cards. That's what he's meaning if you're following along here.
Throughout the entire history of Magic, they've always been 11 wide. How long they are actually can vary. They are currently 11 long, so they're 11 by 11.
Right.
Historically, they were 10 long. So if you look at old sets, like very old sets, you'll see that the big sets in the old sets have 330 cards.
Like an example would be Ice Age.
Sure.
Yeah.
Tempest, Arabian Nights.
The reason I bring up Ice Age is because not only that's when I started playing, but that's the first expansion. I believe Ice Age is one of the first expansions. One of, yeah. I think Arabian Nights may have come first. Yeah, I think it's Arabian Nights, then Ice Age. But the reason I remember Ice Age is because it was a mainline story expansion. So it kind of like went straight from, it kind of like told their story. It was weird, but that's not the point.
I'd have to look up sizes, but I want to say that Ice Age was the second large expansion. There were expansions between Arabian Nights.
But that's not the point here.
No, it's not. The point is that current sheet size is 11 by 11. So on this sheet, the way it's printed currently, you will have 53 rares, another set of 53 rares, and then 15 mythics. And if you noticed, 53 is all the rares in the set, and 15 mythics is all the mythics in the set.
Right.
So there are 2 copies of every rare for every copy of mythic.
Right.
So the expectation is that if you buy 121 packs,
right,
you will get 2 of every rare and 1 of every mythic. Mathematically, that's roughly true. However, if you actually hold it to that specific standard, the way that's true is if you're looking for a particular mythic,
right,
you would roughly expect it to be in the 121st pack you open.
Gotcha. So the very last pack of the 120 packs. And
that's roughly how expectation works without getting into technical details.
Right. And just as a small refresher to the folks at home, how many packs come in a booster box?
So 36 come in a booster box.
Yes. So if you take, if you do the simple math of 36 minus, you take 36 away from 121, you're left with the difference of where the rest of your things in that set went when you don't get all the cards in a specific set.
Yes. So, again, we're talking about the rare slot. Things change when you get down into the lower rarities because there are more slots.
Right. And the mythic slot, which is very important.
Yes. Well, the rare and the mythic slot are the same slot.
Oh, okay. That's another educational point that people need to realize when you're deducing these numbers and your pull percentage chances, out of this type of speculation like we're doing here, the rare and the mythic slot is the same. Although there are different amounts of rares and mythics in a set, the chance for you to get it is the same because that slot is the same in the pack. That's important to note here, people. That's just something you have to note.
Well, you're twice as likely to get a rare than a mythic.
Right.
For a particular card. For example, you should expect to get by your 120 21st pack, you should expect to have 2 of a rare. So you should expect to get a rare around your 60th pack.
Okay, yeah. Now around your 60th pack, that's when you can. So basically, what he's saying is that's so you can expect a rare. Like if the patterns hold out, that's a phone text message. We're recording this live and at the last moments. So the point is, at that 60th pack, when you open that 60th pack, mind you are 24 packs out of your booster box at this point. Your one booster box that you bought. You are 24 packs outside of that number.
Yeah, and it's 60.5, so it's 60 or 61st.
Right, it's 60 or 61st. But the point I'm trying to drive home is if you were to buy a single booster box of Battlebond, what can you as a consumer, generally expect, right? And these numbers that he's using specifically are telling you this is when the math says these events are likely to take place.
Which is actually interesting for Battlebond. Now, I had mentioned kind of the pack ordering and how I'm expecting these partners to be after the rare.
Mm-hmm.
In the case of whether the partner is a rare or a mythic rare, you're still going to get both of them. So when you open your pack, you'll get 2 rares or 2 mythics, and you'll lose probably an uncommon for that. In fact, the God Pack, what I'm expecting to be the God Pack, you're going to open your pack, and it's going to be 8 commons,
right?
1 uncommon,
right?
Rare, rare, foil, rare, foil, rare.
Now remember, and I'll say that one more time so they can get through people, so people can get it through their skull. One more time for the folks in the back.
Again, so the way the God Pack should be laid out, 8 commons, 1 uncommon, rare, rare, foil, rare, land token.
And that would ensue that you get 2 sets of partners?
Yes.
Yes, so that's with 2 sets of partners. Now, why these partners are so important, again, outside of the fact that they're a specific mechanic that you need the first card to interact with the second card, otherwise they're kind of useless, is also the thing is all these pairs so far that I've seen are legendary. Outside of maybe there's a few that aren't.
Yeah.
But most of these can be used as your commander, because if you remember in the format Commander, the partnering mechanic is not actually new. They've had this before where you can have 2 commanders, quote unquote. So,
however, this new one is partners with. They won't partner with other things that have partnered that aren't their partners with partner.
Yes, you can't mix them up. They're going to be, so if you get partner A, he must go with partner B and cannot go with partner C or D.
Whereas in Commander, you could mix them up.
You could mix and match them as you desired for your desired color combination and deck. So you were talking about, not to get you off track, but you were doing the numbers, you were talking about track printing.
Right. So, because partners come together, they actually start to affect the math. So instead of being 53, 53, 15, right? Mm-hmm. You instead get 43, 43, 10, 10, 13, 2. 2.
Now, what do you think those 2 would be? Are those your 2 mythic partners?
Yes.
The Manchurian twins or whatever they're called? Will and Aerith or whatever I think they're called, something like that. Barbie
something
and Ken?
Like that.
That's Barbie and Ken.
Also, that's almost a trope. There's a trope called Aerith and Bob. We won't get into that.
There was a hidden reason why I called it that, and thank you for spilling the beans. So much for my joke, but no, you're fine. He has a habit of wanting to explain things to people, but
okay, so the way I believe that the numbers will be affected is that instead of your odds being these 121, because you're getting the partners together, they'll start to affect the odds. So you're going to count the 10 partners as instead of 10 being 5, and so instead of 53 you have 48.
48 what, rare?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Effectively.
Effective.
So then it's 48, 48, and then instead of 15 mythics, you effectively have 14 mythics because the two are paired.
Right.
And so it's 48, 48, 14, which is 110. Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, math genius. You got this. No, he's doing some quick math. No, but that's another internet trope. But the point he's making though for the people who are going, what are all these numbers and why do I care? Because this is a speculation and a forecasting of what your pack pull percentages may be if you were to buy a one singular box of Battlebond. These numbers will affect those cards that you may pull.
So if you're looking for a particular rare in Battlebond, you should actually expect to get it at your 55th pack.
Right.
If you're looking for a particular mythic in Battlebond, you should expect to get it about your 110th pack.
Mind you, again, and I repeat, 36 packs to a booster box. He said 55th, and what was the second one?
110.
110. So if you, now we're going to leave that last little bit of math to you. I'm sure you folks at home can do the simple subtraction as to how far off from your 36th pack those numbers are. So this is what the math says. Now, I'm not doing this as a thing to say, I should say not just me, but we are not doing this as a thing to say, don't buy Battlebond. You have no chance of getting the cards you want out of it. And yeah. This is not what that is. This is not a stink piece. This is an educational, analysis to not only of our personal findings, but what we think is reasonable for you folks at home to spread this knowledge and to know that these are, I'm not going to say don't be fooled, but I'm going to say buyer beware. To help you be informed consumers on if you want a specific card.
So this is actually a general message for Magic in general. When you start looking at the math, opening a pack of Magic is gambling. If you want to avoid gambling like that with Magic, if you want to avoid being a lottery player and be more of a poker player, because Magic, unless you're doing just kitchen table Magic and you don't care about what cards you have, which then everything's just a game.
Yep.
But if you are playing for tournaments or you particularly care about certain cards,
right,
opening packs is playing the lottery. Playing in tournaments is like playing in a poker tournament. And if you look at how odds work, playing the lottery has horrible odds. Playing in a poker tournament has slightly better odds because there is some skill involved. There's skill and luck involved.
Yes.
And Magic has roughly that kind of arrangement.
Yeah.
And so when you look at Magic cards, if you want a particular Magic card, buy the single. Go to your local LGS, ask if they have it. If they don't, possibly look online, buy or trade. You go and find somebody else who actually has it and give them roughly the value of it. And the reason you do this is because in the long run, that's the cheapest way to get it.
It is. And so now here's where my name is Roman. Mr. V8's first name is Roman. I'm going to speak a little bit in third person. It's a thing I do. As a gambler and someone who's been a professional gambler at one point, I would say if you do like opening packs, there's a fun to that. There's a thrill. There's a thrill in playing the lottery. There's a thrill in gambling. There's a thrill. Now you can be addicted to these things, and it is a real money sink, and you have to be able to pull back. But play drafts. If you like opening packs, play in your local draft. It is the best way to do so. There's prizes involved so that your skill doesn't go unnoticed. So if you do win, you win an additional prize, which makes your whole experience worth it. Don't just draft for money. There's ways to do it. And if you like the thrill of the opening packs, the best way to do it is playing drafts or sealed events. Those can be awesome. Those can be fun. Those can be amazing. I love drafting formats. Sometimes I've seen people go as far as to take their draft winnings, sell them back to the store for credit or for funds, and use that to play the next draft. And they don't even care about the cards themselves so much as they just want to keep track. They just want to keep playing, which is fine. That's a fine way to do it, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you do like opening packs, play in those drafts. That's the best way to do it to maximize your cost effectiveness, I should say, in a way. We would like to do, we're just trying to educate you, the people out there in the world, as to, what the best ways to go about things are, and share our knowledge and experience and wisdom with you out there in the world. So that's the part 2. That's the PSA of the 3-part talk that we're gonna do here.
One more addendum to this. So the question is, if nobody who's a casual or professional player should go out and buy packs, because nobody should, then how do cards get into circulation? And the answer is, and it's not going to be an answer that people like, is that there is a certain market segment who can buy boxes and cases in bulk and spend the labor to open them and distribute them into the market. And because they are buying in bulk, they basically make their margin on volume.
Right.
Basically, the caveat to opening packs, and opening packs being horrible, is that if you buy enough of them, and enough in this case tends to be almost close to a pallet.
And a pallet would be a case of Magic cards. One case is, what did you say, 8 booster boxes?
6 booster boxes.
So 6 booster boxes.
That's 216 packs. And then I want to say that a pallet is,
a pallet can never be more than 6 foot high. That's your standard. That's U.S. Postal Service stuff. You can never make a pallet higher than 6 feet.
Right. And so, your typical case of booster boxes is it's stacked 3 boxes tall and
2 boxes wide. Right.
And it ends up being roughly cubic, and I want to say that it ends up being let's call it 2 feet tall.
Yeah.
So there's probably 3 layers, and it's been
4. It's usually 4 layers. They don't want to go over 6 feet, but it's usually 4 layers. I worked in warehousing, and I worked with the postal service, so we had this have stringent codes, and a lot of the reason I mention that is because Magic the Gathering is sent mostly through mail. So when people tend to buy their cases or a pallet, I've seen people online just buy a pallet. Hi Rudy. They just buy a pallet of what they want.
So should we link to him in the comments of the video?
No, that's an inside gag. No, this isn't a hate thing. That's a guy that you can go watch that bought a pallet of something live on his thing. Like, he showed off his pallet. And I don't think anybody wants to see his pallet. He can keep that in his pants. I love that guy, though, by the way. I don't want to give people too much more than that, but that's just an example of somebody who bought a pallet live. So, but sometimes people that's rare that people buy a whole pallet, but you could go from anywhere from 3 to 4 feet. So it's roughly, if 6 isn't a thing, it's like, I would say 120 booster boxes at best.
Sounds right.
Like 120 booster boxes. That's like 60 almost to that's quite a few. So with those 120 booster boxes, if you remember the math that we said, 55th and 121st is where you're likely to find these things. So any last final thoughts on part 2 before we segue over to part 3?
So that means that you would expect to get 36 of everything.
Yeah.
At a minimum.
Yes. So you need to buy a pallet to get 36 of everything. And that's if you just use the numbers we used, and by no means are those probably correct. The number of booster boxes on a pallet could vary all over the place.
Right. But that's roughly the scale you have to buy at for opening packs to actually make sense.
Or make money, and by sense we mean money.
Yes.
If it don't make money, it don't make sense. And we have a saying around here in the B&B land that we don't work for the money works for us. That's roughly our saying. And what that means is we like our money to make money. So we're kind of playing the long game. We want longevity. And
for example, we mentioned the failed video where we opened 3 boxes of Dominaria.
Right.
The reason I had half a case there was because I got it at enough of a reduction that the EV lined up with what you would get in 3 boxes.
Right. And one thing in our EV that we did take a notice, there were no, with those 3 boxes, there were no Fire Song or Sun Speaker or whatever that guy is called. The thank you for buying a box promotion. The card. Fire Song and Sunspeaker. I think we own like one of those. Two. We have two of those. I'm looking at one right now.
There's actually two in this sleeve.
Okay, so we have two of those. 2 out of 5 boxes. And out of those 5 boxes, we were lucky enough to open 3 cards. That's out of 5 boxes. So we got 3 cards out of almost a case. So we got lucky. We got really lucky with that. But that's not the norm by any means. And I don't even think the third card came from one of those booster boxes. I think one of them came from one of our sealed events.
Yeah, I believe one of our cards is from a sealed event
that we opened in a sealed event, and those are prize support packs, which we didn't even get into the prize support pack theory and tinfoil hatting that we can get into with that.
But we also got More Than One Teferi, More Than One Teferi's Oath. We've got the only thing we didn't get is Phyrexian Scriptures and Naban Dean of Iteration.
Yeah, but we did manage to get a shiny History of Benalia, which I'm quite proud of. Oh, and we got 2 of those Mox Opals, which are kind of a bust. And
Amber.
Oh, Mox Amber. You're right. I wish it was Mox Opal. That's me. That's Freudian slip. That's wishful thinking that this was Mox Opal and it was actually a useful card somewhere. No, Mox Amber might be a good card. I don't see it, but I just don't think it's a good card. That's a personal opinion. The point is, and none of the things we said for the last point on section 2, none of the things that we've said take into account whether or not the card is useful or not. Like, for instance, with a card like Mox Amber, it's generally regarded for most of the people in circles that I've run with as not being very good for a Mythic.
It is niche. And that has to do with Wizards. Okay, what can we do with a Mox so that we don't have to insta-ban it?
Yes. Which is sensible, but I would rather have had them made a card that should be insta-banned. Why? Because the namesake, Mox.
I think their thinking was that they had enough legends in the Dominaria set that they could justify it.
Yeah, but you don't want a Mox for just a niche purpose. You want a Mox for power. You want to feel like you have the thing in your hand. You want to feel like, you want to feel like what's a king to a god and what's a god to a non-believer. You want to feel like, you're somebody and you want it to be special. So they couldn't have made it too powerful because then you can't play it and then it doesn't feel special when you open the card that you can't use. But they don't want to make it too underpowered to where it's useless. And I think they accidentally did the latter. Now, I'm going to segue into part 3. Part 3.
Actually, so the way that they could have printed it, that they did kind of narrow like this, is they could have expanded it to be, instead of being legendaries, it could have been historic creatures and planeswalkers.
It could have just been historic cards, period.
I don't think they would have allowed that because I believe Affinity and Ironworks are in the back of their head.
Well, maybe, but Affinity already has Mox Opal, and that's damn near what they don't want it to be anyway.
That's what I'm saying.
They don't want another Mox Opal incident?
Yes.
I don't know.
But
I want to be.
That's one thing they could have done, and the other thing they could have done is let it work for colorless.
Yeah.
If it could produce colorless mana, it would skyrocket from being useless to useful.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Now, part 3, and I've been trying to get to this for a minute, but we just kept dragging it out. Part 3 is Battlebond, yay or nay, and why not. So, the reason we talked about these card numbers was for 2 reasons in full. The reasoning behind part 2. The reasoning behind part 2 was, 1, I think it really says a lot about Wizards from the change that they did to the order, although, like we said, it could follow the conspiracy and the other routes, but I think that's really unique. But the other thing is, this, like I've repeated, I'm gonna say it ad nauseum again, this is in no way to knock Battlebond or tell you don't go get it or don't enjoy it, but if you thought that doubling season, and we're going to get into a specific card here for a little bit, was the number one reason to buy into this set, I personally believe you are mistaken. I think not only are there better reasons to get some of these Battlebond cards, I just think, not to say that there's better cards, I think personally doubling season in itself was a bit of a marketing ploy. Now, this is a personal opinion, but not to say that there aren't other expensive cards that are good in the set. We will get to some of those in a moment, and why you should should be on the lookout for this set for a variety of reasons. But if doubling season was kind of the thing that led you to think that this is a set worth opening packs for, I'm gonna have to sorrowfully tell you that you are mistaken and you need to reevaluate why you open packs. Now that's a personal opinion. That's a personal opinion. That's part of my earlier disclaimer. That's a personal opinion. But there are other cards in this set which are worth opening packs. The first ones I made mention of in the part 1 was the lands. Very land. If you play Commander, those lands not only may be essential to what you're doing, but they're awesome. And it's really easy to just have, more than one opponent. I know every pod of Commander that I've ever seen has at least 3, if not 4 players. And this is like Tournament Commander. Like, I've seen 3-person pods of Tournament Commander with as low as like 12 people doing 4 3-on-3. Like, it for Commander, this set, I think that's what saves this set. The fact that a lot of these cards are also useful in Commander, I think it makes it worth buying. But another card I'll mention that's a rare, a gold stamped rare, is Seaborn Muse, which is a card that is not only a classic in the history of Magic the Gathering, but it's just a card you can play it in almost every format, other than Standard, obviously. But you can play it in almost every format, barring Standard, and it's super useful. You can throw it into a variety of decks. It damn near wins you the game on the spot in certain scenarios. There's 101 different reasons to play Seaborn Muse, and the fact that that's reprinted is amazing. I think the last reprinting of that was possibly a 10th edition.
It was 10th edition.
Yeah, so that's quite a ways back. And I believe 10th edition was the last edition they had that was actually a numbered edition and not just a year, like M10 or what have you.
Yeah, so 10th edition was followed by Magic 2010.
Yeah, Magic 2010. M10 is why I refer to it as that. Like, Magic 2010 and then M11, 12, 13, and so, like, the point I'm trying to make here is there's a short list of cards which you should be on the lookout for Battlebond. Now, the other thing you keep in mind is, remember how I said personally that if I'm going to ever open a pack, I'm going to do it in some sort of event or a sealed or a draft scenario? I'm not too sure you can draft this set wholeheartedly, and I'm also not too sure that you can, there's going to be any sealed events for this. Now, that might actually happen that second one.
Okay, so at the time this video goes out, we are 1 week away from the preview weekend. This is not a pre-release weekend because there are not specific pre-release boxes.
Right.
This is a preview weekend, which is what they've done with other sets like this, Plane Chase, Conspiracy, whatever. And during your preview weekend, there should be sealed events in your WPN stores.
Yeah, that's Wizards Play Network, I believe it's called.
And the way that a sealed event works for Battlebond is that your team of 2 players is given a total of 6 packs and must make 2 40-card decks out of them.
Now that sounds like fun, but like I said before, that being the case, if you do want to open packs for this set in any sort of way that might increase your value, so you don't bust, because there might be bust rares in this set. And what I mean by a bust rare is a rare that's actually, it's a rare, but it costs less than some of the uncommons in the pack. And if you don't believe me that that's a thing, just look at how much Fatal Push costs, and look at the timeline of the price between Fatal Push, and look at what was it, Tree of Redemption in what was that, 25th anniversary set, Masters 25. Yeah, Tree of Redemption. I'm saying that correct, yes, right? Because there's 2 of them. There's a black one and a green one, and this was the green one, Tree of Redemption. It's not worth the ink it's printed on. It's not even useful as a coaster. You couldn't wipe your butt with it. I am sorry to say Wizards of the Coast, but like, that's not the luxury cardboard squares that we know and love. It's a bust. And it almost feels like, and here comes the tinfoil hat, it almost feels like that was on purpose to like kind of lower some of the packs to make it so you had a chance of losing out, almost like a bust. Like, I call those landmine cards, because you fell on it. You weren't looking for it, but you stepped in it, kaboom, right? So cards like that do exist. I don't think... Now, there was a small chance, and Wizards will never tell you that they intentionally did it that way. Wizards wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say it if I was Wizards. I'd say, sure, it was a fine card, and it represented its set well. It was the best representation of its set, which I disagree with wholeheartedly. That was... But now, the Gourmand here is making kind of like a disgusted face. But if you remember, Mr. Gourmand, that was their reasoning behind a lot of those cards. They were meant to mark the iconic moments in those particular sets.
Yeah, but
that's not a very good choice for such a thing.
Wasn't that an Innistrad card?
Yes. Maybe Avacyn would have been a better choice? I mean, for the original Innistrad, maybe Mayor of Overbrook, but they wanted to make the set draftable, so I guess that's a draftable card? I would never draft that card.
So one person's theory is that they had already decided to do Triskaidekaphobia as one of their ones.
Uh-huh.
And they think that one of the persons selecting the cards had a pet combo involving Tree of Redemption, some kind of weird life exchange thing, and Triskaidekaphobia.
Sure. Whatever that was a joke, alright? The bottom line is, that card particularly was a joke, and the reason that's even mentioned with that failure of a set, and I was calling it a failure when it came out, I'm gonna pat myself on the back, that was a failure from the jump. I knew it was gonna be bad. I never believed in it because the last one was bad. And I agreed with a lot of the people who said that it felt like they were two sets broken in half and spread out over a period of time, and all those card selections were made earlier. Now, why does that matter? Well, I think, and what we've just demonstrated as numbers and how these reprints work, that those reprints were set aside. So they had a number of... So I think they took that number... And they said, these are the original cards we're going to have in this set. This is the number. We're going to have this many original cards in Battlebond. The rest are going to be reprints. And then I think they made their decisions and selections based on what they felt would work best with two factors. The first factor being what's going to make people want to play this in the first place. And the second factor is what's going to work best with the Battlebond mechanic and actually make all this work. Can we just reprint a bunch of cards? Because not only are people clamoring for reprints, but what would make this work? And people also like, nostalgia a bit. Like, they like things that they can recognize, right? So I think a lot of those reprints in the set was a marketing ploy. I think Doubling Season was kind of like Jace the Mind Sculptor. No, they didn't unban Doubling Season, although they could have easily banned Doubling Season from a number of formats that they wanted to. It would have been a fair banning in my personal view. But I think that they put that into this set because it met both of the criterias. One, I know Wizards pays attention to the secondary market. You can hate it or love it. I'm pretty sure they pay attention to these sorts of things. How could they not? The second part is they put this card in there because it not only fits, it kind of works with some of the themes they have going on in that specific color, green and blue, those specific colors. It also is a reprint that is going to draw, the card off the top of your head. You don't even have to guess and think of what some of the other cards in the set are going to be. You just know you want to pull that Doubling Season. And Doubling Season got upgraded to a Mythic. Now, this may not have been the first time it was upgraded to a Mythic. It was. Okay, so it was the first time. So then it even goes to further my next point. They upgraded it to a Mythic as one of the 15 Mythics. I believe you said there were 16 Mythics in this set, or is 15? 15, yeah. He said 15 Mythics in this set. Now, that got upgraded to one of those Mythics, making it even rarer. Now, remember what he said before about your chances of actually getting it? So, while they don't print lottery cards like Expeditions and Masterpieces anymore, I personally think this is a similar situation, where this is the lottery quote-unquote card. This is the, oh my god, I pulled it. I mean, everybody wants the Planeswalker from the set, and in this case, there's two of them, but two of them that go together. There was two of them in Dominaria, actually three, but,
I'm looking at my phone. The name of the other one is Rowan.
It's Rowan. See, I was close, right?
Yeah, it's Will and Rowan.
Yeah.
They're tree names. God!
Tropes again, foiled by tropes. Also, keep that phone handy because I'm gonna allude to something in a minute. But we kind of took a list of cards that we think that are valuable in this set that are worth just trying to acquire. and that may be the price of which may be brought down by said set, and that we're not gonna go into the cards in depth and like review the cards, but what we are gonna do is we're going to just name them off. So if you do play Magic the Gathering, you can just look, you'll know what they are, or you can just pause the video, do a quick Google search, and just look at the card yourself and know that. So go ahead, Mr. Gourmand, name off some of those goodies that you might see in this set.
Okay, so the top 2 cards of this set in terms of money are Doubling Season, which is a reprint. Everybody knows its name.
And bumped up to a Mythic.
And Arena Rector.
Yeah, Arena Rector. Now, that one's new.
That is a new card. And the reason that it's currently being speculated at $30,
people, that's only $10 less than what you can afford what's the Doubling Season at? That's also a Mythic, by the way?
Yes.
That's also a Mythic, by the way.
It's essentially another Jeru with eyes open.
Yeah.
It's a tutor for Planeswalkers.
Yes, it's a tutor for Planeswalkers. And people will be playing that ad nauseum in their Commander decks. Now, the Commander format has made certain cards' prices jump up, and go nowhere but escalate to the ceiling. That's why Wizards, jumped from EDH, good old EDH, that the judges used to play at GPs when they had nothing else to do, to a format that Magic the Gathering, i.e. Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro, can get behind, is because the funds were there. It's the same thing with Pauper. Dare I rue the day when Wizards of the Coast officially makes like Pauper decks you can buy at your local game store. Buy this Pauper deck. Like, there's $200 Pauper decks. And for those who don't know, Pauper is a format that's an eternal format, which means it plays with most of the cards in the set, in the game, and it's only commons. And there's $200 decks for that. So, like, don't think that Wizards isn't, like, forward-thinking when it comes to sales and how they're gonna perceive these sets. They want to make money. Just like you want to, have fun and play cards and possibly not spend your life savings on these luxury cardboard squares.
So anyway, I just wanted to mention Arena Rector before getting into the meat. So, notable reprints. Land Tax.
Yeah. If you could give us the rarity on each one of these cards as you go through them.
Land Tax is Mythic.
Is Mythic, upgraded from uncommon at one point in its existence, I do believe.
So, Land Tax was uncommon in the Battle Royale box.
Yeah, so, and I'm sure that was printed in the 2010s. So,
I don't remember.
Oh no, you talk about Battle Royale as in like the BR with the star? No, that's super old. My bad. That's really, really way back in the day. But there was a time, and let me get my movie voice going. There was a time, and a place, and a world where Land Tax, the Magic the Gathering card, was uncommon. So that's really old. But yeah, now it's a rare. Now it's gold rare. So it's gone up, and that's because of the people who play Magic the Gathering and how they value these things. Because Wizards of the Coast do follow, they may not always be for the fans or make every decision, based on the consensus of what the people want, but they do pay attention.
Battle Royale was...
Sneeze alert.
Was 2008.
2008. So just before the 2010s. So 10 years ago specifically, that card was an uncommon at one point. So what else are we looking at?
But that Battle Royale set was the only time it was done as uncommon, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
With the exception of the really old sets that didn't actually have
printed rarities?
Yeah. No, its original Legends print was also uncommon, but I don't believe... so while they didn't have printed rarities, they did have rarities, but I believe Legends had, instead of having rare, they had... no, they had rare, but they had U2 and U3.
Uncommon 2 and Uncommon 3, for those who don't know.
Which was just because of how they did the sheet layout. Some uncommons were more uncommon than other uncommons.
Yeah, which is still kind of how it's done today, and I'll give you an example. One of the chase commons from the newest set of Dominaria was Llanowar Elves. And we opened 5 boxes of this, and we saw Llanowar Elves less commonly than we saw a lot of these other commons and uncommons. So it felt like if there was a common 2 slot, that was in it.
And that could be related to track printing.
That most definitely could.
Okay, so Landtax, true name Nemesis, which is stuck in these Eternal formats, but it's very much an interesting card. It has protection from a player.
Yeah, that's kind of unique.
And so it has debt from a player and everything that player controls.
Yeah, so in a one-on-one scenario, that's ridiculous.
And it's still good in Commander.
Yeah. Oh, best believe it's good in Commander. You will see it.
Next, past that, you've got Bramble Sovereign.
Which is a new card?
No, no it is. You're right. I'm sorry. I meant to go down to the next reprint, which is Seedborn Muse.
Good old Seedborn Muse.
However, that is only at rare.
Yes, and it's almost always been a rare. Like, most of its existence is a rare. It's been at rare.
Then you've got Diabolic Intent, Nirkana Revenant, Mystic Confluence, Greater Good, Vigor.
Yeah, things like Greater Good and Vigor. Speak. See if you can't pull off a lot of the reprints first.
Yeah, those are reprints.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, like, give mention to some of the reprints first before we go into the new card.
Yeah, then Mind's Eye, now you're starting to get into the $5 range.
Yeah.
Up to this point, these were all over $5.
All these cards are over $5. Now remember, our friend Richard Garfield said he would like the cards to cap out at about $20. This is something he has stated, that he would rather have the cards not be more than $20. He did not get his wish.
Yeah, the expected price for doubling season is $40 for the Battlebond version. It's currently $50 or more for the other versions.
That's currently. And if you go to one of our favorite websites, which is MTG Stocks, I believe it's called, it gives you like a track history of some of the prices on cards, and that one's kind of maintained value for a long, long time. Doubling season, and that was partly due to it not being printed so much.
Yes.
So the next one would be...
In terms of reprints, the next one after that is Mind's Eye, and then Chorus Spirit Dancer.
Yeah, good old Chorus Spirit Dancer. Enchantments Ahoy.
So the first uncommon you get to is... Spell Snare.
Now the order of which we're speaking listing off these cards is by value. So the first cards you mentioned are the most expensive.
Yeah.
And the next cards we mentioned, and we're going down in ascending order from most to least expensive. So we're talking about just raw money value here.
And then, Spell Snare, then, there were 2 rares above it that I didn't mention. They weren't...
Reprints?
So 2 reprint rares above it that I didn't mention. But, I don't really recognize names. Well, I recognize one of the names. But, the 2 I skipped were Tidespout Tyrant and Soar of Temptation.
Soar of Temptation is a good one.
Soar of Temptation.
That one, that's something I'm looking forward to. Now, my favorite deck in the history of Magic is Red Deck Wins, and my favorite card ever is Lightning Bolt, which we didn't see in this set. Again, good old Lightning Bolt, constantly getting a shaft. But, the point is...
although the next 2 cards, right? Angelic Chorus, and then at uncommon is Chain Lightning.
Wow, Chain Lightning. That's one you don't see every day, and you can really only play that in really like Legacy or Pauper. Chain Lightning almost only ever gets played in Pauper.
Yeah, so it's only legal in Eternal formats. It's legal in all of the Eternal formats.
Commander, Pauper, Legacy, and...
Vintage.
Vintage.
And 1v1 Commander, which is Magic the Gathering Online.
Yeah, that's 1v1 Commanders. I don't even pay attention to that. I play Magic Online, and I don't even pay attention to that.
I just mention it because it's in the listed.
Yeah, it exists. And it has its own separate ban list from normal Commander as well.
That's why it's listed separately.
Yep, if you were ever wondering that.
So that Chain Lightning's not an expensive card. I mean, for an uncommon, it's kind of up there.
Was it like $3?
Yeah. So, And keep in mind, this is a pauper card, right? So it was originally printed at common. It was printed at common in its first two printings, which were Legends and Premium Deck Series Fire and Lightning.
Yeah.
And that's $9, then $5. Then it gets bumped up to uncommon for Eternal Masters.
Right.
Where it's about $4, and then it was an Amonkhet invocation, and like all the invocations, those are just super expensive. So at that rarity, which is beyond Mythic rare,
yeah, which is lottery card.
One in every 2,160 cards.
Yeah, that means one per case. One per 6 booster boxes. Possibly.
More like 1.5 per case.
Okay, so 1.5 per every 6 booster boxes is what the math will tell you.
I think I have to think about it. Hold on. Yeah.
Yeah, so 1 per case. You can round up, I would round that down to half a card. It's typically not how you do that, but in this case, when it comes to like cards like this, you typically can round down.
That's for getting a masterpiece. If you want a specific masterpiece, you have to get 54 times that amount.
Yeah, so 54 times that 2,000 plus number of which he just gave you, that's for a specific masterpiece.
Right, so...
And Magic, and all of a sudden Magic the Gathering in WotC wondered why that didn't really work out. That whole concept wasn't attractive to people. Yeah, that's...
basically, your expectation is to get a particular masterpiece, you have to open 18 cases.
18 cases, so essentially a pallet. Damn near a pallet.
Remember how I said before that buying in bulk and buying pallets is about the only way that buying boosters makes sense financially?
Yeah, remember that? So the point here is, for a lot of that is...
But anyway, that version of the card's over $30. It's like $36.
Yeah, and you have zero reason to actually own it.
You want to bling out your pauper deck.
I guess. Who wants to do that? I mean, who wants to bling out their pauper deck, man? That's disgusting and abnormal and decadent. And it's like if you guys ever seen Futurama and you remember the what was that guy called? Like the self-indulgence bot that was basically like eating grapes all the time and looked like one of those Roman orgies.
Hedonism bot.
The hedonism bot, that's his name. He's the only guy who...
Except for you, hedonism bot.
Well, yeah, except for our pal hedonism bot, who's the only person who would have the bling out pauper deck and then play all those cards in Commander. He would be you're at hedonism robot levels. He was programmed specifically to indulge himself and to see the levels of indulgence. Like, unless you're programmed specifically and you are some sort of weird robot from the future, you have zero reason to own something like...
You randomly won the lottery, pulling it from a pack.
What are you gonna do with it? What are you gonna do with it? You know what you do with it? You know what you do with those cards?
Sell them?
You sell them and then you build your deck, because you can take the money you get from that, and that should be enough money to build a semi, if not competitive deck in Standard. Yes, $30. You can do it. It is physically and humanly possible. Or if you have a PayPal account, you could send that money to PayPal and build an awesome, super competitive deck on Magic Online. From one card that you don't need, and you can't even play in 2/3 of the formats. Yeah, that real way to go on those. But I'm that's old hat. I'm spouting old. I'm preaching to the choir at that point.
So remember how we were talking about garbage rares?
Yeah, dumpster fire rares, i.e. landmines, or, well, because I don't want to use the S word, S piles, but those are landmines. You can step on them and go, boom, oh no, I open this is my rare. Yeah, they got some of those in Battlebond? You mean there's rare cards that are worth less than uncommons?
There's one or two.
And what would those be for the listening audience who may want to avoid those cards?
So, we're talking reprints here because speculation on non-reprinted cards is kind of
it's impossible.
It's unreliable.
Yeah, like at this point you're speculating based on two things: experience and actually, I can't even think of the second thing. It's mostly experience.
Yeah. There are certain cards where you know that the money will be there, like the lands, the money will be there for the lands.
Right.
The money will be there for the 2 planeswalkers.
Well, yeah, because but I mean, you can't really speculate so much on some of these, newer cards because in that way, because you don't know how they'll perform, and the performance does drive the price, and then. So,
but your garbagest of garbage fires.
He said garbage fire. He's lighting up the barrel.
Is Newsgraph Mob.
Newsgraph Mob. Is that the one that's it costs 1 green?
No, this is 4 and 2 black. It was originally printed in Eldritch Moon.
In Eldritch Moon, you say?
Yep.
Wow. So how much are they? So that's a rare. Now, what is it in this set?
In Battlebond, its expected value is actually higher than its old printing.
No, what is the? That's fine. I'm asking, what is the rarity?
Rare.
It is that rare. So this is your rare slot, people. Now give us the whopper of a price for this rare.
So if you were to buy this card today, 21 cents.
21 Savage cents. That's another internet meme. 21 Savage. He's a music artist. But no. The point is, that is a whopping 21 cents at rare. Meaning, you could open this pack. Now, what's the Battlebond expectation for this?
35 cents.
Oh, we've gone up. We haven't even hit $1 here, people. So,
the reason that it's higher in Battlebond is because its specifics work well with the rest of the set.
Okay.
It is very much, if you are playing a Battlebond sealed event and you care about this Battlebond sealed event, or draft, there is Battlebond draft, we didn't get into that, but
I speculated I didn't think there was going to be drafts for Battlebond. I mean, if there is, so be it. I mean, but you can't, how are you going to draft your partners? Like, that doesn't work to me.
They actually have rules for it.
They're going to let you draft them both?
Yeah, so the way it works is that, you get, your set of partners gets 4 packs, and then you do it in, the pack.
Oh, so like you're gonna be 2 people at once drafting a single set of stuff?
Yes.
So like you would take 2 from so pack A would hit the table. You would take 1, I would take 1, we pass it to the next set of 2 people.
Correct.
Okay. That makes a little bit of sense.
That is pretty much exactly how it works, and we can roughly discuss, like, we can use signals between each other as to we want to pick.
Well, I would imagine that you would just both look at the things and both, like, whisper to each other and just flat out talk.
Yeah, it depends on how tightly they have you in.
I guess, like, if I was sitting next to Gourmand, and he's not the world's smallest person, neither am I, we would just be like, oh, whisper, yada yada, get that one, I'm getting this one. Like, we would just get the partner ones that we thought were good and probably build around that. Like, ooh, we got the 2, rare partners. Let's get them and see what we do with them. With the Manchurian twins or whatever. Jaden and Willow Smith or whatever they're called. You should see the look on his face. He's gonna lose it.
Going up from, Newsgraph Mob, your next kind of garbage rare is Evil Twin.
Ooh, Evil Twin. So, I'm going to ask you a question to kind of sum up some of this idea. How many rares are in the set that cost less than $1 that you can see from the list you have in front of you? Just as a rough count, he's going to count up all the rares that you could pull as your rare that cost less than $1. Keep in mind, folks, the MSRP on 1 pack is like $3.99. So your rare could be less than your uncommons, and your uncommons could be enough to pay for your pack. That's kind of weird, right?
Oh, wow.
What's that? What did you discover, sir? Share it with the world. You're being recorded. So what did you find? Don't leave us dead air.
I'm just double counting here.
All right, he's double checking to make sure he's got his numbers right. We're awaiting the grand total of the really super low total of like 2 or 3. 3 is even high. If he hits us with double digits, I'm gonna lose it live on air.
It is not double digits.
Okay, how close is it to double digits?
So the number I was originally going to say was 9.
Wow.
However, I realized that 4 of those were 99 cents, so they're essentially $1.
Essentially $1. So we can count those. And for the purpose of this exercise, we can count those. And the reason I say that is it's $1. With your expected value of your pack costing $3.99, you have a 1 in 10. You have essentially, if we round up, 9 is closer to 10, so we'll round up to 10. You have a 1 in 10 chance of getting out of all the chances you have to pull a rare. Wait, so how many rares were in? What's your likeliness of pulling a rare is 100%, right? Out of a pack, because that's how there's always a rare slot.
Yes. However, of pulling these 10 rares, you would expect to pull one of these 10 rares once every 5.5 weeks.
Yeah. So, but it's 10%, right?
No. It's, sorry. Give me a minute. It is...
He's mathifying people. He's
point. It is, sorry, my brain is not quite working.
Yeah, he's pulling the lever on the calculator.
4.54 repeating percent.
So round it up to 5, essentially, right? So yeah, 5%. I'm rounding up all the numbers, just so people can have more of a kind of a buzz in their head, because 5 is easier to remember than 4.55555 infinite.
No, it's actually 4.54545545.
Yeah. The point notwithstanding. The point is, so around 5% of the time you open these packs, you're gonna pull a rare that's less than $1. So, what that means is, those uncommons in that pack better be good. And there's a lot of uncommons in here, and we're not even gonna go as far as to go through the set and say, how many uncommons cost less than $1?
By the way, that number of 9, that was just reprints. If we talk about the speculation on the non-reprints...
Yeah. Okay, so let's add those numbers up. Okay, how many speculation on the non-reprints? Now, we're just pure speculation, people, so take it with a grain of salt.
So, the total between reprints and non-reprints, rares less than $1.
Now remember, we're still in the preview weekend at the recording of this video, so these numbers are subject to change.
The week prior, but yeah, is 26. One of those is a mythic.
You mean to tell me there's a mythic rare that's 99 cents or less? What card is that, sir? That raises some cane.
It's one that's actually worth $20. It's just a bug in the market. The market doesn't want to speculate as to what the Battlebond version...
Oh, it's a reprinted mythic?
It is. And
what is it?
Mycos inflatus.
Oh, yeah, that's $20. No, disregard that last little bit of it.
So 25.
Yeah, 25. Because we won't count that one. That's not fair. That's not a fair assessment at all. That card's going to be $25 when it reprints. No ifs, ands, or buts. I don't want to hear it. That's a commander staple for a certain amount of decks. It's a finisher for a lot of cards. That card is not...
Sorry, I did the looking up before I noticed that one of those was an anomaly.
Yeah. So, with your 1% margin of error, you know what I'm saying? That was your margin of error. So, yeah, so roughly 25, right? So, you said 25?
Yep.
So, 25 rares that you could pull from this set that are speculated to be less than $1. Now, with that being said, that should let you know about your chances of winning the lottery. They're bad. And pulling cards out of packs and opening packs is winning the lottery. No matter what card, damn near, Wizards puts in a pack outside of some Power 9 ridiculous nonsense that's coming out of center field, because it wouldn't be right or left, it'd be coming out of the aliens would have landed and plugged in a brain slug to somebody's head for some things like this to have happened. Outside of a Power 9 card and maybe a select few in the reserve list, there's not really a card that Wizards can realistically or that they're going to put in a set, that one card by itself that should make you go buy a box of boosters. There just is one specific card. Now is there a small list of the hits that you might be interested in a set? Sure, but you can get all of those, as my friend has so stated, in singles. Support your LGS, people. The secondary market is the way to go. Now, with that being said, I personally think, and I would think that my friend here would agree with me, Wizards pays attention to the secondary market. Is that a fair statement?
So, this is where reality and legality have kind of a conflict.
Right.
Some people may be aware of baseball cards.
Right.
Baseball cards are a thing.
They are.
They were enough of a thing that there was a court case on them.
Sure.
There's been a few court cases on them.
Sure.
But one of the main things to come out of baseball cards is that a company cannot attempt to directly manipulate the secondary market. Wizards is not allowed to sell singles.
No, they're not.
Legally.
Right.
They cannot do it. U.S. law says Wizards cannot sell single cards. What they can do is they can kind of skirt around this. They can give away single cards as promotions. They can apparently they can sell sets as small as 8 cards.
Yeah, we looking at you, Jason's Spellbook. Which is a great product for anybody who plays Commander, and that's something our good friend Hedonism Bot would buy. He would buy a Jason Spellbook. Our good friend Hedonism Bot would get it.
Like, unless it falls in price, even I'm close to the Hedonism Bot of the group, and I avoided that product.
Yeah, like, he avoided it and he has a 5-color EDH deck he's building, and all 8 of those cards might have been useful in his EDH deck. He still didn't go get it.
Yeah.
At $25 MSRP, I believe.
I think it's $30, actually.
I thought it was $24.99.
I have to look it up.
You
might be right.
He's gonna look it up. But either way, it's still outside of the price range of which he was willing to pay for it. And he's the big fish when it comes to the. He's our high roller in the group. Like, we're all gamblers at heart in different ways. Because you gotta be to play as long as we have. You have to have some aversion. You have to have some non-aversion to risk. You have to be able to embrace risk in some form or fashion. That's what makes the game fun for me, but other people get different experiences. But the point is...
$20.
Oh, $19.99. Well, how does that make you feel, not knowing that? Still not interested?
Yeah, so a lot of those cards have been reprinted enough that it feels not worth it to pay $20 for the blinged out version.
So here's the question, though. There's a Jace Belleran in that set.
There is a Jace Belleran.
How much does he cost?
Ooh.
Because you are now looking at the process that we follow to which we determine how these products work. And now we're speculating on value. If Jace Belleran is within a specific price that the other cards are essentially just bonus, it may actually go to the value. He should be like $5 to $6. So you might actually be getting $20 worth of cards in this thing, in this set.
Jace Belleran price history.
Yep, Jace Belleran price history.
$8.
$8. So that's damn near 50% of the at $20. That's just under 50% of the total cost of the box itself.
And one of the cards in there is Counterspell, which, despite being printed ad nauseum at the uncommon slot, like, there are so many counterspells. Counterspell defies demand and supply. Like, it breaks the market trend because you look for a counterspell and that's a $5 card.
Now I'll tell you why that is. Art.
Yes.
Is art.
Everybody wants their own blinged out counterspell.
They do. Now, with that being said, that leads us into the last part of it. The last part of Section 3, minus all of our speculation. Now, with the exercise we just demonstrated about how much these cards cost, you may actually get $20 worth of cards out of that 6-8 thing set. You might be able to do it. But here's the thing. A lot of those cards in that set aren't going to get the mileage. They're not going to get and here's why I say the mileage. You can't play them in standard. You can play most of them in modern, but you can't play all of them. But what you can play all of them is combat. And that's actually what they're most useful for.
Right. So my prediction on that particular set, that 8-card set,
yeah,
is $20, if you can buy it at $20, and you can resist opening it, which is why I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
You have to buy this and hold this. In fact, you should buy more than one and hold them. If you can hold them for 5 to 10 years, they will be worth a great deal of money.
And the reason on that is because, like we said again, art. The art on those particular cards is unique to that experience.
Yes, it is a very blinged out set. Although back to earlier theme, lottery.
Uh-huh.
You do not get 8 cards in that set. You get 9 cards in that set.
Yep.
Do you know why you get 9 cards? Because you get 8 cards and a foil.
And a foil. So you're saying you get an extra one of the cards that's already in the thing as a foil? So are you saying there's a chance that you could get a foil chase out of the whole thing?
Yes.
So you mean to tell me that Wizards of the Coast slash Hasbro can't not put a lottery scenario in any of their products to the point where there's no chance to sell these things based on the lottery effect? So, i.e., Wizards of the Coast is playing on people's gambling habits?
Pretty much.
Yeah. See, now, I don't dislike Wizards of the Coast. They make 2 of my most favorite things in this world as far as games. Magic the Gathering and Dungeons & Dragons.
Although, if they ever print it, I would probably buy Signature Spellbook Karn.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I would want Signature Spellbook Garruk if we ever got that.
Well, if they ever print Signature Spellbook Karn, the way they're billing these, they would have to include a Karn Planeswalker and...
Oh, the ridiculously high-priced 7 mana Karn Planeswalker, like the first one?
Even the current one is ridiculously high-priced, although that will be going down and then it'll go up. By the time they get around to printing Signature Spellbook Karn, I'd say it'll probably be in the $50 range.
I would say 20 to 30.
I think it's going to be past where it goes up again.
Right, I think so.
So I think 20 is going to be the bottom of that card, and it will start going up again.
That's okay. Well, the point is, with all this conjecture, and the last part, so the first part was the introduction and our reason for being in this discussion. The second part was raw numbers and why they matter to you.
Oh, by the way, those raw numbers say sell your cards now.
Oh, yeah. Well, sell cards when they peak. Like I said, if you have just one card, sell it and build your deck. You can build an entire $70. Now, here's the trick, though. If you go to your local LGS, they're not going to hand you $70. You also have to take that into account. They're not going to hand you the exact market value for your cards.
So what they will hand you is, if they are a fair-dealing LGS, they will hand you $40 in store credit for your $70 card.
That's store credit, mind you. You can't parlay that into cash. You at best can parlay that in a similar product, i.e. build your deck.
Or, yes, you can use it to buy singles.
Or you can use it to pay for events, like drafting, if you have that urge to open those packs. But basically what we're saying here is, and the third part is our speculation. Now, to sum it all up, Battlebond, is it a good set? I say, is it good for the game of Magic the Gathering? Yes. Is it good? Is it a good set in terms of playability? I say not as much. Because of its niche. Its niche is such to the point where it really only affects Commander outside of its own scenario, and I don't see Two-Headed Giant taking off like that. I could be wrong. Hell, I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong in the fact that maybe Two-Headed Giant goes the way of Commander, and you got people playing tag team champions of the world Magic forever and ever, amen. But I just don't see that happening. It's a fun experience for sometimes.
So Wizards doesn't expect that to happen. You can actually see that in their marketing. Yeah. What they expect is, this is how things will go down. This is my predictions for the future. They have one set a year where they are focused on multiplayer draft.
Or multiplayer format, I guess you could say, in general.
This is, not going to be standard legal. It may not be modern legal.
Right.
I mean, there might be a reprint in there that is modern legal, but it's not going to be modern legal. You know, this is Eternal formats only set, and it's focused around kind of player interaction in a draft.
Right.
Multiplayer in some kind of aspect.
Right.
That slot is, you know, previously Plane Chase, Conspiracy, Unstable,
right.
Battlebond this year. Next year, I'm calling another Plane Chase.
We might even get whatever Spell Slayers is supposed to be. There's been some speculation on that term. Yeah, maybe Plane Chase. I like Plane Chase a lot. It was fun to pretend. I'm a D&D player, so like pretending to be a planeswalker and flipping and flopping around all these different places, those were fun. That was fun for me.
And then I'm thinking that 2020 we might see Battlebond 2.
That would be nice.
2021, they'll probably do another Conspiracy, and then 2022 they might dip into the Unwell again.
Wow, you're going really far into this future. But yeah, so with this being said, so as I was saying though, is Battlebond good for the game of Magic? Yes it is. Because, and I'll say it like this, it's more playable than Masters 25 was. As a draft, having two people sitting next to each other and drafting cards is more fun than anything that could happen out of M25 or Masters 25. Because Masters 25 was just so bad, card quality wise, that maybe could you draft it? Yeah, but you'd rather just draft it online. Like, it's not something I would go out to my LGS to actually go play. Like, I could easily just draft that set online and not really give a hoo-ha. This, however, Battlebond, the best thing about this is the experience of playing with a partner. Now, the experience of playing with a partner I will give them is so awesome to me. And they finally have enough cards to make that interesting to where, like, being tag team champions of the Magic the Gathering universe is a fun, awesome concept. Am I going to go out and do all these sealed events for it? Maybe. Probably not. I might be too focused trying to fix my standard deck because that takes up a lot of my mental capacity.
I'm trying to get them to go to, like, 2 of them.
I'm trying to not lose these standard tournaments and trying to go 3-0 at my LGS, and I can only do so much because I'm not the most intelligent guy in the world, but I got a lot of wisdom behind me. The point is, the idea is so fun that so be it, right? It's fun. The idea is really fun. I'm gonna give them credit in that area. I mean, I like the art of this set. It's just, the EVs for this particular set are low. From what I can gather, it's low. Don't go out and buy a case of this stuff for that aspect. I don't think that's where the value is in this set. And there's more than just monetary value in this set. That's what I'm trying to get at. Go out and play in these sealed events. Go out and get the what cards you need and for the singletons for your commander decks. Just do it that way. Just do it that way, because that to me is the best way to go. So is it good for the game of Magic the Gathering with all the things I just said? Yes. Is it a good set in terms of EV like we've just demonstrated? Not really.
I think it's okay in terms of EV.
You think it's okay, but you wouldn't give it a good or a great?
I believe if you buy a single pack of Battlebond, you're gonna either 50-50. It'll be 50% that it will be below what you paid for the pack, and 50% that'll be above.
But to us gamblers, to us pro gamblers, 50-50. To us pro gamblers, 50-50 is bad odds, right?
50-50 is pretty shit odds.
It's the poker player is telling you who plays on instincts and some numbers. I'm not all outside of the numbers. The guy who goes with his gut says that's bad odds, and the guy who's the mathematician over here says that's pretty shit odds. So I mean, we are agreeing in that particular thing. 50-50 is shit odds. Like, I'll give you an example. If you won 3-0 in your standard league thing and you were able to choose 3 Battlebond packs for your prize, is that what you would choose? Be honest.
So in standard league, if I had to choose all of them the same, then no. But
if you could get 1 and 2 others, you would get 1 for funsies, is what you're saying?
Probably.
Right. So, my overall opinion of this set is is what I like to call sometimes magic, right? There's these fun tabletop games you can play with your friends that are really cool for sometimes magic.
Oh, caveat. So our friend is a Spike Commander player. If you are focused on Commander and you are tournament grinding Commander, you probably want to...
You are, what's the word I'm looking for? You are...
The target audience?
Not the target audience. Yes, that's not the word, but, beholden. It behooves you, that's the word I'm looking for, but it behooves you to pay attention to this set. There are singletons you are going to want. Like those lands, there's singletons. Like, I was gonna get to that. There are good cards in the set that are worth noting. And even for a guy like me who likes 60 card constructed, be it, modern, I dabble in modern and play, standard, like, I want those, I want and kind of need those Seaboard Muses. Like, I currently own one Seaboard Muse, and it's ripped, and I use it in my Commander deck, and I've had it since, because I'm 28 years old, and I'm gonna date myself. I'm 28 years old, and my very first Magic experience when I was a wee little lad was Ice Age. That was my first time I ever, like, bought cards, played, all that stuff. Just when I learned from all my, olders and betters and this and that, my elders. And no, that was fun for me. So I loved, like, the snow-covered lands and that sort of thing. Like, I love me some Scred. But, the point is, this is good for what I would call sometimes magic. And to be honest, Commander in itself can also be considered sometimes magic. It really can. Like, if you look at the origins of Commander, it was called Elder Dragon Highlander, and it was played by a bunch of people who were magic judges at these events who were just waiting to be called for when they were needed. And so instead of just sitting around doing nothing, they took a format that used to be called 100 card singleton, which was a format in Magic for a small time, and they augmented it to play in a specific way, and it was kind of like being in with the cool group. It was because they were judges and they had all these cards and they weren't playing at events. And it was something they could say, hey, wait, pause, I need to go do this judge ruling, and do that.
We're coming up on 2.5 hours.
Alright, well, the recording tells me it's 2 hours and 3 minutes is change, so I'm gonna wrap this up. The wrap up is, don't buy a box, buy singles. It's fun for sometimes, but it's not the end of the world. Doubling season is great and all, but you're probably not gonna get it. You're probably not gonna get it opening packs. So, unfortunately, marketing ploys are marketing ploys, and those are my final thoughts on that. Final wrap-up thoughts on the whole thing?
That's probably all accurate. I'm sorry about some of the math because, like I said in my disclaimer, I didn't take track printing into account when I was giving odds, and I'm gonna get, if this ever gets views, I'm gonna get crucified in the comments for it, but there it is.
That math doesn't come from nowhere, people, even still.
But yeah, buy singles. When you buy singles from your LGS is one of the guys who is probably bulk buying boxes and opening, or they're buying from someone who is. And so Wizards still gets their money because somebody bought those cards at some point. Unless you're buying promos. Like, if you're buying singles of promos, then you're kind of ripping Wizards off.
But hey, they gotta do it somehow. That's the currency exchange. Also, I'm gonna give y'all a secret for sticking with the video this long. I like to do this. I have a theory. They're not gonna like it when I say this. Wizards is probably gonna hunt me down. I already know the Illuminati's gonna hunt me down for saying this, but I have to tell the world. Magic the Gathering, the cards, it's the new cryptocurrency. You heard it here first, Pete. This is the transmission. The revolution will be put on the airways. No, I'm just playing, folks. No, but that's a joke. That's a joke, and disclaimer. That's a joke.
Also, Magic the Gathering was the old cryptocurrency.
Oh. Well, never mind then. I guess we are on the same page. Even still, they're gonna come. I'm gonna tell y'all a secret. If y'all come to try to go get us for our views and opinions on that last part, we live in the boonies. So if you can find us, we can find you. Y'all have a wonderful day. We love each and every person who listens. Y'all are great.
Also, for further information, Google Magic the Gathering Online Exchange Bitcoin.
Yeah, because that's a real thing, people. Yeah. It happens. So, we love everybody. Y'all have a knock back some beers for us. And this concludes, drumroll, our broadcast day.